Hey all, Mark from Renaissance Acres Tree Care and Fids and Fibers. I want to do a video today, talk about electric chainsaws from Husqvarna. So you might be using one of these, or you might be thinking about buying one. This is a 14-inch 540 T540i for top handled. I also have the tail handled version. I had the tail handled version for about 1.5 years now, and it had a 2-year warranty, which is one of the reasons why I bought it, and it broke under warranty. So it's at the shop right now getting repaired. In the meantime, I bought a brand new T542i that's in the truck. I love it. The difference between them is the 540 has a direct drive off the end of the electric motor for your chain, whereas the 542 has an actual clutch, just like all of our traditional chainsaws. And I have to say, it has a little bit more inertia, a little bit more follow through, and it powers through wood even better than the 540 did. And I was using that thing every single day. So I think I'm totally in love with the 542i. Great thing about these saws is the battery hole for the top handle and the battery hole for the tail handle, and the 542i, the newer saw, use all the same battery. And your choices for batteries are the BLI 100, the BLI 200, and the BLI 300. And so I bought the 300s because they would last longer. And so I said, well, the trade-off is it's a little heavier, but it'll last longer. And so I've been super happy with the battery itself. What I haven't been happy with, however, is the cases of the battery. This is where the electrical connections live, right in here. And so when you look at the battery, they have the electrical connections here. So you would slot that in, it would lock in place, and you make the battery connections. This case, this outer case, protects the inner battery from damage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this one off and show you, after a couple of years, 1.5 years of use, what I've run into with these cases. So just so you recognize this button, if you push this, it gives you your battery charge remaining. This one's got 3 bars. Now, a little word of caution. There's a lot of electricity inside this box. Don't go fooling around with electric tools or wet hands to take your battery box apart. I'll show you how simple it is to take the covers off, and then I'm going to show you the deficiencies about the batteries, the battery boxes. So first of all, there's supposed to be 4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of them's already missing. Don't know where it went. They're just small plastic thread style screws with a Torx T10, I think it is. So we'll put those there. And the cover comes off just like that. Now, what I found with these covers is they are cracking and breaking in the corners. I'll try to go up real close and so you can see. There's a crack in this one, but the crack actually extends up. It extends up the body of it. So this is the better of the two, and that crack goes from the corner all the way up here to where the screw goes. So this piece is fairly rugged and it's lasted pretty well. It's just a tiny little micro switch where you push that button, and that little black round part on the inside pushes against a little micro switch here, which lights up. So the fabrication of it is fabulous. There's never been a problem with reaching the button and all that. But where I have had some issues, let me pop this one off. Actually, let me pull the battery out. And what you'll notice is the electrical connections come free with the battery. So if I hold it here and slide it out, you can see this piece right here comes with the battery, and it slides into a little slot here to lock it in place, and here to lock it in place, so that it's always positioned perfectly to mate with the saw. But when you have the battery out, that piece just kind of floats a little bit, and when you put it together, you have to make sure that that slot's right inside there, and then it locks in place. It's nice. It's really nice and sturdy, and I really do like the way that it connects. That's wonderful. But this is the battery bank. All the batteries are in there. I haven't counted them. I don't know, 40. I don't know what they are. But the unit itself is made out of a really wonderful plastic. Oh, a piece just fell off. I have a feeling that's from the case. See that? And this is part of the screw hole. It goes right there. It's part of the screw hole, probably for the screw that fell out. Anyway, the plastic on here is really nice. It's very thick, very resilient. It doesn't have any looseness or brittleness to it. This guy is kind of a heat sink, and it's got a poured resin in it where the battery check is. The wires seem to be well terminated. I haven't had any trouble with them wearing across the top. Yeah, feeling pretty good about the battery pack itself. I haven't had any issues with the batteries, losing charge quickly, discharging too quickly, or taking a long time to charge. So far, this itself has been flawless. Absolutely love it. But where I've been having trouble is the battery case itself is pretty brittle. You can actually see a chip here. This piece just broke off. That's the piece that fell out. And what you'll notice on one side, I used hot glue and a couple of small screws to locate this, because on the other side, I can pop this one out still. This one, how these fit inside is they have a spring-loaded piece that you put it in, you bend the spring slightly and slide it in place, and that's what holds it. That interference fit is what holds it in place. Well, I've already taken this one out and flattened a little bit of the detente in it, because it was so tight that it would actually break out the side of the case. So if you could imagine that this spring piece was even steeper going this way, when you slide it in, you'd have to push pretty hard to get it to set. And the end of that spring piece rubs right here. And here's the result of that. What happens is the plastic in the case is so thin that it actually broke the plastic out. And so what I did is I found two very short screws that would allow me to locate the spring on the inside of the case. I drilled a couple holes through the plastic, and then I held it in place with the screws, and then I filled it with hot glue, and it's been functioning okay. But it means that you can't remove it like the other side. So when I did this and slide it out to replace it, I put it in those two larger holes. But because I have hot glue and screws in this one, I can no longer remove this side. The other problem I had was, and you might be able to see, there's a little bit of residue from super glue there. is this piece actually cracked. The metal extends to right about here, then the rest of this is plastic. So as I was pinching these, this is how you release the battery from the saw. So as you pinch these to then remove the battery, the plastic actually broke here where the metal tab stops. So this one's been repaired. This one's been repaired. The case now will only hold 3 screws because this piece wants to fit in there, however that goes. I'm not going to worry about that right now. This is the good one, and I bought 2 at the same time. So I'll just show you what's happening with this one. If you take a close look, you'll see that the top of the case is just shattered. It's coming into pieces. So we'll pop that one off. And you can probably watch that one fall apart on its own. The point of this video is not to trash talk Husqvarna or the battery case manufacturer. The point is I want you to know that this is a consumable and you can replace it. I'll be showing you brand new parts that I just received today, and how to swap this over to a new case. So I got all 4 screws loose, and now I can just lift this out, and as you witnessed, that piece just fell right out. And that has the screw still in it. Let me see if I can hold it against the lighter background. So you can see the screw is still in it and that piece is broken out. So let's just check the corners, the other corners of this one. Seems like they're okay. This one actually has a crack extending this way as well. So you can see, I'm just gonna bend this with my fingers pretty easily, and you're gonna watch the crack just come right apart. So this is that's how weak that case is designed. Let's see, this is the corner that I ruined on this one. And let's see if it's the same corner. No, on the other one. So on this one, it's the bottom corner. On this one, it's the top corner. So 2 different failures for 2 different reasons. The plastic itself does have some strengthening ribs in it, and it's otherwise a pretty solid piece. But I don't beat on my stuff. Put this over here. I don't beat on my stuff, but then again, I don't treat it gingerly either. I use it like the tool it's designed to be. I make sure that my stuff lasts. This just didn't last. So I'm gonna pop this battery out as well. I'm gonna put this one on the other side to keep it away from the other one. I don't know how many volts or amps are built up. I didn't do that research before I made the video, but there's a lot of juice in those. So what I worry about is these are exposed electrical connections. And if you touch the 2 batteries together and any of these make contact, we could have an issue, or tools. So when you have batteries, when you take the cover off and you have batteries out, be super careful about not contacting any of that stuff with conductive items. All right. This case has got one side that I repaired with hot glue. You can actually see the screws right through it. And the screws don't extend all the way inside the case. I can't really light it right this second. They're just flush so that the batteries would slide in. But this side will actually show you what was happening. You can see a little bit of the metal there. And if I pull this guy in and pull it out, you'll see that disappear. And so what breaks is the spring on this is too strong, and it pops and breaks the plastic in that area right there. I'll slide it back in, and you'll be able to see the plastic arrive in place. So when it's locked in place, that's where it lives. And so you can see the cracks extending up here, right there. And eventually this whole, you can kind of see it in the light right now, there's a little ducktail where this is raised. And what happens is once the metal breaks the plastic, then the metal sticks proud, and then the battery won't slide into the saw because it's a high tolerance for it to go by. The metal will hit on the edge of the saw, and you'll have to either with your finger or a tool press it in to allow it to seat and get into the saw. So as I'm talking, another piece of plastic fell out of the case and landed on the table. So there's broken bits here and there floating around. So anyway, this is how this works. You depress this slightly and pull it out, and then that comes out. These pieces are replaceable. You can get, if you break one of these, you can buy new ones. If you break the lower case, you can buy a new one of those. And if you break the upper part of the case, you can get that. All those pieces are separate, but I'm going to share the part number with you for the full part number for a brand new case with all the pieces. And this is what I just picked up. It's a brand new one. And in a minute, I'm just going to open this up. We'll put the battery back in and make sure it's all good, and show you how the electrical connections slot into these grooves on the sides. But I have another one in this box. I'm going to put the picture up. So the part number that you're looking for is that right there. So if you can screenshot that, it'll give you the part number that you want. But this part number will be for an entire brand new case with the top lid, the bottom part, and the squeeze pieces. So they are available separately, but that part number is for an entire case. So let's take the screws out of this, and we'll put one of the batteries in. Now I'm gonna say the plastic on these units is probably not ABS enough. I think the plastic could stand a revision. This one does feel the same brittleness as the other ones that I bought that came with it. I don't think the part has been redesigned yet. And I'm hoping this video will reach someone at Husqvarna and get them to think about revising the material that this is made out of. So let's see. On the inside of this one, I have 7 of 2020. So this was a 2020 saw, and this one says 7 of 2021. So it's only a year separated. So whatever parts bin this came from, I'm pretty certain it's going to be the same material all the way around. So let's take a look at these guys before we put it together, because what I'm afraid of is I'm going to have the same exact issue where this part is going to bend up and break the plastic here. So I'm going to kind of feel the tension that's under. Oh, the other part was because I was squeezing this to overcome the power of the spring, I actually broke that across there too. So let's take a look and see. I don't know if you can tell on the video, but I'm actually deforming the case I'm deforming the case quite a bit to overcome that spring. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull both of these out, and I'm just going to flatten that curve out just a little bit. We'll put it back in. And this will reduce the amount of holding power it has to hold it in the saw, but it'll also decrease the amount of force it takes to remove it from the saw, and it will make this part last longer. So this one I could still take a little bit more out of. Try that. So now I can actually actuate these without bending the case. They still hold in place. Not as tightly, but they still hold in place. The other part is there's an ear here that slots into the top piece, and that'll help hold it in place also. So this is my solution for not breaking the cases easily. So this one I had out recently, so it's not completely covered in dust, but what I did when I first took it out is I took the air compressor hose and blew it all off to get all the dust and dirt off it. So it's not in too bad a shape right now. Let's take a look. This is the part that floats a little that needs to go into this guide. So I'm going to hold it gently here, and we'll slide that in, and we'll just make sure that that fits in the guides. Wiggle it a little bit, and you can actually see that that's very firm. It's got a slight taper to how it sets, and it's a really nice firm fit. So really well designed, really like it. Now here you can see the button for the lights is here, and so you would want to make sure that you put that on in that direction. If you put it on this way, it probably won't fit, number one, but number two, you wouldn't be able to check your battery. So we'll set that on there. There's two little ears here. We're going to see where they fit. There we go. They fit just inside there. So those two little ears are going to help it, to help these from popping out. You remember how I took a little bit of the spring out of it. All right, so it fits really snug and very nice. The gaps are really small through here and on the other side. There's no wiggle, there's no wobble. It just fits just so. I have to, hats off to whoever built the pieces, whoever designed the pieces. We just need to have a slightly different recipe for the plastic. Now I'm going to put these guys in. I think after the video's over, I'm going to go out to the shop and I'm going to get a little bit of grease or Never Seas or cutting oil or something, just to put on these threads so that they don't bind and break the plastic in the future. So as I screw them in with you, I'm going to just test to see how taut they are. Yeah, that feels like it's binding on the plastic. So I want to put a tiny bit of lubricant on that. I don't need to load it up, but just a tiny bit of lubricant on these threads to help them go home. I'm not too worried about clamping, even though I did lose a screw, but I think that was because the plastic broke, not because the screw came out. So there we have it. That's a fresh bucket for the battery. And I'll put the part number on the screen one more time. It's this number down, this number right here. So yeah, happy electric sawing. I'm loving the electric saws. I didn't think I would. I absolutely love them. And I just wanted to share some information as I'm getting more and more experience with them. By the way, there's two great videos, part 1 and part 2, that my friend Will from New Greens Arborist Supply out in British Columbia did. So when you run these saws, you want to make sure that you have this dust cover on. And even with that dust cover, it will fill the inside of the saw with dust. And there's 2 little micro switches, one for the brake and one for the throttle, that you want to make sure stay relatively clean and don't get ruined. I've been seeing more and more issues with the micro switches themselves. So that's another, hopefully redesign or upgrade part that Husqvarna can look into. But other than those 2 things, I've been having a blast with these saws. They oil great. They last a long time. Yeah, sure, they're not as strong as a 200, doing bigger removals, but in 90% of the stuff that I'm doing here in New Hampshire, it's just amazing. So I very rarely reach for my 550 XP, and this is so much lighter and easier on my shoulders. I don't have to start it 100 times a day. Yeah, can't say enough about these things. So if you have any questions, DM me. I'll make a video for whatever you're thinking of. Anything I can do to help, I'm here. Peace. Be safe out there. Wear your saw pants. All right.